Good morning, folks. I start my day at Udaipur like millions of people across our country who start their day with a WagonR. And they do that, well, because Maruti Suzuki has sold 2 million of these cars since the year 1999. So, folks, welcome to PowerDrift. I'm Sharma ji, or I'm your college ki Anjali, or I'm Mummy, or Papa, or Bansal Aunty, or I am your geography teacher, Miss Ria, or possibly even the Uber driver जिसने अभी आपका ride cancel किया. My point is that I am going to be driving this big new WagonR to find out if the new WagonR still fits 2 million different roles. See you around. For something that you are going to see every day, the WagonR may not be a very interesting design to look at, but it is certainly very interestingly functional. Now, why does the WagonR look the way it does look, which means a box on 4 wheels? That's because when you pack your stuff or things in your day-to-day life, you always pack them in a box because a box is functional, offering more space. So, in its newest iteration, which is the big new WagonR that stands here, it is still a box on 4 wheels, but then the box now has more rounded edges. You also clearly notice wheel arches onto the side of the car, which adds more character and prominence to the side profile of the car. And then as you move on to the back, you shall also catch a very nice looking floating roof design. Front of the big new WagonR that you are looking at is also slightly transformed. As you see, the headlamps are redesigned. There is a larger front grille and a hexagonal mesh dance party happening out there. All in all, I would just like to sum it up and also end it by saying that the front of the big new WagonR is a lot more chiseled. The back of the big new WagonR is also transformed. I would say it's tarted up, with the tail lamp slightly moving upwards and a slightly more sculpted tailgate, which overall makes the back of the big new WagonR look bigger and better. Is it better? Let me know in the comments below. Now that's all the design details of the boxy, boring yet beautiful WagonR. I haven't taken you around to the inside of the car, so let's do that. Now millions of people across the country start their day in a WagonR. We've already said that, but that implies that the inside of the cabin needs to be a very vibrant place, which it is because of this very beige patch on the dashboard out here. The dashboard is new, the beige patch is new. The dashboard's not just new, the dashboard is big, it's also wider. Now, I really like the way it is sculpted, every contour out here. I think it's beautiful, including the AC vents. And then at the center of this beautifully sculpted contour dash is this solid looking 7-inch touchscreen display, which makes its way into the WagonR for the very first time, and it fires up Maruti's smart infotainment system. When I look up straight, there is an analog speedometer with a red backdrop that makes things interesting, and then there is also a digital tachometer. Also very ergonomically placed out here is this huge cubby hole where my phone can be stashed, or my wallet, or other knickknacks that you may have. And point to be noted, of course, is also the fact that the seats out here are new, far more comfortable, I would say, far more comfortable, I would say, than the outgoing WagonR, especially the side bolstering all the way up to my clavicle. The steering is a small one, nice to hold. Of course, there is tilt adjustability, no reach adjustability out here, but it does come with steering mounted audio controls. And then, of course, to some of the miscellaneous things, or rather just one miscellaneous thing, there is a 1-liter bottle holder at the door pockets, at both the door pockets. Millions of people across the country are going to start their day in a WagonR, and that would mean farmers, family, friends, foes, and so we really need to get into the back seat to understand whether we can stash up 400 kilos of onions and potatoes, or 4 of my family members. Let's check it out. When I'm sitting in the back seat of the big new WagonR, you might just mistake me to be sitting in an Omni, because that's the amount of space I really do have out here. The new WagonR is not just wider, it's also longer. The wheelbase is longer by 35 millimeters. The overall length is longer by 56 millimeters, which means that when you do pack your favorite people and stuff them into this box, 3 people can definitely sit here comfortably on the back bench. It also results in increased leg room, and then if you do throw a glance at the top like I am doing right now, there is immense amount of headroom. Even if I were to extend the black bars all the way to my head, I would end up looking stupid, but then the headroom would definitely exist. 2 things remain. One is tires and the other one is, of course, boot space. quickly talk of the tires or the wheels. The tires are wider by 10 millimeters and the wheels, okay, this is very dirty, so we are going to refer to these wheels out here as real wheels can get. The wheel size is now 14 inches, the tire width is now wider. Now they call this a big new WagonR because, well, everything in the car has gone bigger, and definitely so is the case with the boot space. You also of course get a very nice little convenient parcel tray. Alright, so if you're done with all the fun and frolic, then it's time to get serious because, well, the WagonR for the first time is being offered in a ZXi variant. Now what that means is that you get this solid looking touchscreen display, you have steering mounted audio controls that we spoke of earlier, and then you also have electrically adjustable side view mirrors with side indicators. For the first time again, you are also being offered two engine options. The 1-liter petrol engine has been carrying a lot of Indians here and there, 2 million to be precise. The next 2 millions can choose to be driving the 1.2-liter petrol engine. So you get better performance, of course, and it is not an uncommon sight on our roads, on Indian highways, where you see a WagonR being loaded with people to the brim or then loaded with goods. And when it is loaded with people, then people are the goods. Either ways, all applications of WagonR are going to benefit from this extra performance that the 1.2-liter petrol engine is going to offer you, which is, by the way, the same engine as seen in the Baleno or the Ignis. Speaking of Ignis, the big new WagonR is a whole lot of Ignis, is how it feels also to drive. The big new WagonR is based on the HEARTECT platform, and you get ABS and airbags, dual airbags as standard. The build quality, as expected, is better than before. You do get ZXi variant, you get two different engine options, but the buck doesn't stop there for Maruti Suzuki because they're also equipping the big new WagonR with AMT option, which means that the 1-liter or the 1.2-liter engines can be coupled with an automatic manual transmission. I'm sorry, I got distracted here between these two trucks. But then if it comes to safety between the two trucks or elsewhere, the WagonR does get ABS and dual airbags as standard. The WagonR then has to be the car that is everywhere. It has to be a car that you can call from your phone. It has to be the car that your crush drives. It has to be the car your father must consider buying because your neighbor bought one. Alright then, this was the first drive of the new WagonR in the city of Udaipur, and now before we summarize that very car standing there, I want to talk about three little things that I didn't like, nothing which is a deal breaker. First is the fact that it still gets the lazy steering. Second is the fact that it could do with some more aesthetic upgrades or options like LED DRLs there. And third is, yes, the car has grown in size. The front track width is more, the rear track width is more. But the tires out there, though they have increased 10 millimeters in their width, the car looks under-tired. But that's it. The real problem is this fact. You see, the old WagonR sold stunningly for Maruti Suzuki, which means the new WagonR has tough boots to fill in. So the new WagonR has to do something more than just millions starting that day with it. And that it does, because millions will now not just start that day with it. They will brighten their day up with the big new WagonR. Thanks a lot for watching our short little coverage or first drive of this big new little WagonR. Then, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you around next time again. Do remember to subscribe to the channel and let us know what you thought about this big new WagonR and what you thought about that security guard walking right into our frame, checking the car out.